Okay, for this effect today, to pair with the new shuffles that I'll be showing you that preserve Bessey sequences, what you need is you need to ask the spectator to choose 4 cards whose card value names have just 3 letters in them. So for example, I have an ace here, that's ACE, 3 letters, 2 TWO, 6 SIX, 10 TEN. So these are all 3-lettered card value names. These are 4, okay? FOUR, FIVE, NINE, and KING. Now they're free to choose any suit for these or any card values as long as one group has card names with 3 letters in them and the other one has card names with 4 letters in them. Now the point of our time together here is to show something really quite surprising that people are not aware of. For whatever reason, these card values just do not get along. For some reason, they do not like each other, okay? So we're going to demonstrate that today, I hope. So what you need to do here is we're going to try to mix these cards together as well as we can, and we'll begin to do that by just alternating the cards in each pile, okay? And as I mentioned, the claim is these cards do not like each other. So we're going to start out with them very close to each other, which they probably will not enjoy. So you take one from the pile of cards whose names have 3 letters, and 4 letters, 3 letters, 4 letters, 3 letters, 4, 3 letters, and then 4 letters. Okay. Okay, so they're about as close to each other as they can get, and we'll see how long they decide to stay that way. Okay, now we're going to mix the cards because both of us kind of saw where cards were put. So I'm going to go ahead and take one from the top, one from the bottom, top, bottom. Maybe we'll shake it up and do bottom, top, bottom, top. Okay, so that will begin to, well, let me just show you. That will begin to mix these cards a bit. Okay, so they're quite scrambled here if you look at those. Okay, now we will take a few minutes just to review some of the many shuffles that we have been showing you in this series dedicated to Bessey sequences. Okay, so what are some of the ones that we have shown you? Well, I believe we've shown you, I hope we have, these are supposed to be face down now, sorry. The alternate Klondike. This is where you go kind of left, right. I'm doing a Klondike shuffle, but I'm putting the cards into a left pile and then a right pile with random stacking. That's just fine. In fact, you can even do it into 4 piles. So I'm just taking top and bottom off as 1 and then putting those into 4 piles, stacking from left to right or right to left. That's just fine. What are some of the other ones that we've shown you? Let's see. How about the mange? That's a favorite. Now, you can do it over, under, or under, over. It actually won't matter. Another one that people like to do, just because it has a fun name, is the Australian shuffle. This is where you go down, under, down, under, down, under, down, under, down, under, down, under, down. Last one goes on top. Okay? And then what are some other ones? Oh, we could do a ferrule. You remember that? This is where you divide the packet in 2, so maybe I'll take the bottom half here, and then you perfectly interlace them. Now technically, doing it one way gives you a ferrule in shuffle, and doing it the other way is a ferrule out. Well, for us, it doesn't actually matter which one you do. So go ahead and just interlace those perfectly, however you would like. And then maybe we'll do Klondike, just a regular Klondike into 1 pile. That's great. And then maybe we'll do an odd up jog. This is where you push forward the odd position cards, strip those out, random stack. Okay, so what are the new shuffles that we're showing you today? What are the new ones? Well, I call it push-off pairs. So the acronym is POP, P-O-P, push-off pairs. So this is where what you do is you just push off 2 cards, put them into one little pile, push off 2 cards into the next 2, next 2, and you're free to stack from right to left or left to right. Okay, so maybe the spectator will say, stack them from left to right. Okay, that's just fine. Okay, let's do another one of those. And not only can you stack from left to right or right to left, you can use this leapfrog technique. So maybe we'll go from right to left, but we'll leap over the one next to it. Do you remember this? We've done a lot of leapfrog shuffling with different shuffles that we've done in this little series. Okay, so those are that's called push-off pairs. Okay, so the key there is when you push off pairs, you're not changing the order, right? You're not changing the relative order of any of the cards, actually. Now the other one we're going to show you that we've paired with the push-off pairs, because it kind of seems similar, but it actually gives you a very different permutation, a very different ordering of the cards, is where you deal down 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, 1, 2, like that. Okay, so this is called a pairwise transpose. And then if we stack from left to right, that would technically be a bona fide pairwise transpose. Now the reason I'm making a big deal of it, let's go ahead and repeat the first set of actions. Stacking from left to right gives you the, quote, pairwise transpose. Now, if you stack from right to left, which you are free to do, it will not harm our Bessey sequence. If you stack from right to left, technically this is equivalent to a packet reversal. It's equivalent to just doing this, dealing out all the cards and reversing them. Okay? So from left to right, we call it a pairwise transpose. And then right to left, technically it's a reversal. Another name that we've given it is the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And in that shuffle, it includes the full freedom of dealing until the spectator says, stop, stop. Maybe they stop there. Okay, and now you stack from right to left. Okay, so all of that, believe it or not, is equivalent to just reversing the cards. Okay, so when you're dealing out like this, it's like the spectator's telling you stop after you deal 2. And if you stack this way, technically it's a packet reversal, or what I have previously called the first shall be last and the last shall be first. And all that means is you stack them in the opposite order. Okay? So you can do as many of these push-off pairs as the spectator calls for. Random stacking, left to right, right to left, or a leapfrog. Or you can do this pairwise transpose. Okay? Very good. Oh, now one thing I should mention about the pairwise transpose. Let me just show you this. Here, when you're stacking from left to right, you can actually do the little leapfrog thing, if you would like, for that one as well. Isn't it amazing? All these different ways of mixing these cards, and they give you different orderings of this packet. But nonetheless, this sequence or this arrangement of the cards will not be undermined in the least. Absolutely astonishing, actually. Okay, so let's go ahead and we'll finish now. We've shown you the new shuffles, the push-off pairs, and Pairwise Transpose. And then I'm going to, for the first time here, actually play some role in all of this in terms of making decisions. So I'm going to go ahead and just kind of divide these into two piles. So maybe I'll take that one, you can have that one. I'll take that one, you can have that one as well, and I'll take this one, okay? So this is really the only part that I've played, significantly in all of this, okay? I guess technically there was one other place where I played an important part that we'll talk about in the tutorial, but okay, so where has that brought us? Well, think back to how I began my introduction of this particular effect. We had two piles of cards whose card value names, see on the left, they had 3 letters in them, like 10 and 6 and so forth. And then we had 4 letter card values over here, like king and 5 and things like that, okay? And then we mixed them. We alternately put them together. We're putting them right next to each other. And the claim is they don't like each other. And that after all of the mixing we would do, in the end, these cards would congregate together. All of the cards that have 3 letters in them would stick together, and all of the ones that have 4 letters in their names would stick together, and they would try to stay as far away as possible from each other. So let's see if that actually happened. See, 6, 3 letters in the name, 2, ace, of course, and 10. It looks like they did. King, 4 letters, 4 letters, 9, 4 letters, and 5, 4 letters. We did indeed prove the point that these 3-letter card names and these 4-letter card names, for some reason, they're just polar opposites. They will repel each other, no matter how you try to force them to stay intermingled. Okay, so how does this one work? Well, if you recall, I started with, it doesn't matter what order these are in, by the way, the ones over here, either pile actually. So I just need 4 cards that have card names that have 4 letters in them. There you go. And then we need 4 cards that have 3 letters in their names, and there we go, okay? So, and then I explained that we're going to show that these groups of cards, for whatever reason, maybe they come from different warring factions or something, they just don't like each other for some reason. And then what we did is we forced them together, right next to each other, by alternately placing them, kind of left, right, okay? So they're about as mixed together as can be, shoulder to shoulder, which they won't really want to stay there very long, okay? But, the fact is we've just seen how they've been put together. So what I did there was I did a top, bottom, and then a bottom, top. Now, it ends up that will always separate an alternating packet and convert it to our special Bessey arrangement, okay? So I guess we can have you watch and see it in action here. So right now, just be clear, right now the cards are alternating. This one has 3 letters in it, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, 3, 4, okay? So what I did was I took a card from the top, one from the bottom, card from the top, one from the bottom. And if you remember, I paused and I said, well, let's mix things up. Why don't we take one from the bottom now first? Bottom, top, okay? Well, what does that do? Does it do what I claim? Okay, well, let's just check that really fast. As always, we like to kind of match it up with our special structure type here. So this one goes way over there. Okay, so did that separate, using this labeling system here, did it separate the cards with 3 letters in their names from the cards with 4 letters? Well, all of the ones, all of the cards in the positions marked by ones are going to be put into the same pile in the end. Well, what are they? So here's a 9. That's the first one. Has 4 letters in it. The next quote 1 marks this card, which has 4 letters in its name. It's a 4. And then we come over here to these middle 2. 5 has 4 letters. King has 4 letters. And the others all have 3 letters. Okay? So it's in our special organization that will now be preserved by many, many systematic shuffling procedures that are used today. And I've been showing those in this little series, and there are more to come. Okay, so now in some ways it's protected. The cards with 3 letters will in the end be separated from the cards with 4 letters, despite all of these shuffles that we can apply that I've been showing you. And so if you remember, I did kind of a quick review. Honestly, I don't remember all of the ones that we did, but we did like a mange. Okay, that preserves this Bessey sequence. You can do a Klondike, that's fine, into just a single pile. I think we even did an alternate Klondike. This is where you kind of go left, right. I'm taking top and bottom off as 1 and doing left, right, random stack. So, you know, go back in the video and look at all of the ones that we did. So any of those can actually be performed without harming this. Random stack there. You can do Australian down, under, down, under, down, down, under, down, under, down, under, down, under, down, last one on top. Okay, and I think maybe we did a pharaoh and so forth. Okay, now the new shuffles for today, though, are these push-off pairs. So this is where, without changing the order, you just push off the 2 cards at a time from left to right. Now you're free to stack from left to right or right to left, or you can do a leapfrog stacking. That won't hurt anything. Okay, so that was, quote, push-off pairs. And then the other one is a pairwise transpose. Why don't we go ahead and kind of show you why I came up with the name pairwise transpose. Because if you do it in hand, what's happening is, it's like you just kind of, you push over the top 2. Now, with this shuffle, what you're kind of doing is you're going like this. You're just transpose means to change 2 things. So you switched the order or the positions of 2 things. Okay, so you're just moving it over. Sorry, I've lost track of whether I've done it already. Genius. Okay, and then transpose. Okay, transpose. Transpose. Okay, well that's a little awkward, right, to do it that way. So if you do it on the table, you know, it just, you know, it makes more sense to most viewers, you know, to do that 2, 2, 2. Okay, and then random stacking. Now you can stack from left to right or right to left. The reason you can stack from right to left is because in the end that will be a packet reversal. Now you guys have the advantage that you can rewind the video to see if I made a mistake just like 30 seconds ago when I transposed. I was playing with the top 2 cards, and I don't know if I transposed it 3 times or 4 times or what I did. So why don't we together, so that I don't have to redo the video, let's just see if I'd messed things up. Okay, so what we're looking for is let's say that cards in the positions marked by 1s, they need to have the same number of letters in their names. So the first one's a 2, so that's 3 letters. And then come over here, it's a 10, that's 3 letters. And then an ace is 3 letters, and a 6. Okay, that looks like I did not destroy things. I'm concerned that I wasn't keeping track of it as I was talking through the instructions. Okay, so we're still safe here. So you can do as many of those shuffles as you would like that we've just shown you. And then at this point, what you need to do is just separate it into 2 piles. You really haven't done anything special as a performer except that one step. Do you remember when we alternately mix the two sets of cards that have 3 or 4 letters, alternately mix those. Okay, that's fine. That's easy to justify because you're trying to like push these cards together that supposedly don't like each other. But the other action that we did, if you remember, I did a top, bottom, and then I did a bottom, top. Okay, so that's really the only handling of the cards that was outside the control of the spectator. Okay, and then you do need to actually perform that step because we needed to get it into this special sequencing of the cards for it to be protected. Okay, and then at the very end you can kind of say, well, you know, I haven't really done much, which is true. So I'm going to go ahead and just split these up. Now I do want to point out there's a number of ways of splitting up cards, pulling out these ones, okay, without doing what I'm kind of doing here where I do a 1, 0, 0, 1. And so maybe in future videos I'll show you some additional ways that you can achieve the same thing, but you know, it looks different. It looks like you're doing something quite different when you're doing really the same thing. But maybe for now we'll just follow this. So I give you a 1. I do have to keep track of that. So you got the 1. I get a 0, you get a 1. Now I get the next one, 0, and then you get the next 2, 1, 1, and then I get the last one. Okay, and then at this point you could have had a written prediction if you wanted, and you could bring that out. But if you sell it that these cards, for whatever reason, because they have different numbers of letters in their names, they are at odds with each other. For some reason, they don't like each other. Well, this is going to prove that point here, because despite the fact that you interlaced them perfectly and then mixed it according to spectator decisions, and you ended up with 2 piles of 4 cards, where one pile has all of the cards that have 4 letters in their names, and the other pile has all of the cards with 3 letters. Okay, so I think most spectators would go, oh wow, there really is something about these cards. They just don't like each other. Isn't that's curious? I wonder why that is, you know. And one thing that you'll learn as you do any kind of magic or card magic is it's almost frightening what kinds of weird things people will actually believe. I mean, or imagine in their minds as to what's going on. I always find it so surprising how superstitious people are. You know, they just, you know, they'll think or believe very strange things as fact, which are just so clearly nonsensical, but in their mind it's like, yeah, I guess that's weird. I guess I could do that, you know. So anyway, that's another couple of shuffles using Bessey Sequence as the organization for this packet of 8 cards that will be preserved in the end, despite all of these random choices being made by the spectator. So thanks for watching.